So the people in the first generation, they're getting educated. The people in the second generation, they're just losing sociopaths and inbreds and, Down syndrome and these types of things, right? The third generation, we're going after the diseases. We're trying to cure all diseases because the resource-based economy, number one tenet is human health, not profit, okay? Generation 4, we're going for superhuman status, okay? Because we want to be a star traveling species, right? And having people that need to be tinkered with by other people all the time because their bodies don't work right, their minds don't work right, is just not how we go forward, okay? Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about licensing childbirth and how licensing childbirth would work in a resource-based economy. So, licensing childbirth, what does that even mean? Okay, well, it means that you or whoever needs to have a license before you're allowed to have children. Okay. Now, in a resource-based economy, there is no one telling anyone else what to do. Okay? It is driven by an AI that's housed in a blockchain that's all open source. Okay, so it's a non-corruptible system. I've spoken more about it. You look into my other videos if you want a more in-depth explanation on how that would all work. But basically, the AI is going to survey people's genetics, and as the years progress, the AI will slowly take certain genetics out. Okay, and this is all going to be outlined by humans over a course of the 4-generation theory. Okay, so the AI is merely the instrument for implementation. The plan that I've outlined is a 4-generation plan to phase in the licensing of childbirth. And what the goal of licensing childbirth is to eliminate a lot of bad genetic qualities in the human race. Okay, so this isn't some sort of racist plan to eliminate any certain kind of people, except like those kind of people would be like people with retardations, sociopaths, people with inbred genetics. Okay, now this is the goal in the later generations, like generation 3, generation 4, right? So we're assuming that, okay, here we are on the planet now, and we're now doing the whole resource-based economy thing, okay? The whole planet is on board, and we're moving forwards, we're cleaning the planet up, and we're doing stuff, okay? So we're in generation 1, right? The very first generation, right? That entire goal of that first generation when it comes to licensing childbirth is education, okay? So just educating people, the planet, to the level where everyone can comprehend this, basically, licensing of childbirth, okay? But what goes into this is also teaching people how to raise children, teaching people, for instance, okay, there's a cell, a type of cell that is only created in your brain from the age of 0 to the age of 2-ish, okay? That cell is responsible for intelligence, okay? If people don't raise their children with the correct intellectual stimulation, those cells are never created in that child's brain, locking that child into a lifetime of low intelligence. Okay? So this right there, just that, changes the dynamic for the entire planet. Okay? So the first generation, we're just trying to teach everybody every single thing about how to optimize childbirth and raise children. Okay? Now, when you start to have a lot of people that are educated, they are going to self-sustain from having children. Okay? So people will, as intelligent people, will realize, right, that whatever's wrong with them, they probably shouldn't pass that on to kids. That will just be a part of the education process. When everybody's basically an engineer, right, and we have like a very high level of education among people that are capable, right? But as the children are born into the resource-based economy and everyone has this knowledge, even people that don't have those cells because their brains were never challenged in the correct ways when they were children, their children still have that potential. They just need to be stimulated properly, okay? Now, genetically, children that have been the parents, and this has been going on amongst them for hundreds of years, their genetics when it comes to IQ is greater than societies that haven't been stimulating this, right? So I remember watching a series on East Asia, and they take the babies and they've got like basically like a box of sand that they kind of, hollow out so the baby can't really tip itself over. And they leave the baby like that while they're out dealing with the rice paddies, right? And that baby's stimulation is like zero, right? Right at the most critical time when the baby needs to be getting the most optimum stimulation. Okay, now, and again, like, why do we need to do this? Well, 25,000 years ago, there was one canine species on the planet, okay? Now look at all the dogs. The variety is amazing, okay? And, it's innumerable. There's just and this is 100% from human breeding, okay? And we've done this with a lot of different animals over the centuries, okay? And humans, as an example, these twisted slave owners in the American South for literally hundreds of years were breeding African American slaves and breeding them for just like somebody would breed other animals, like breeding dogs. Oh, I like this dog because it can do this. They were, for hundreds of years, they did this, okay? So we have in the United States a genetic line of African Americans that don't have any genetics. I mean, all their genetics come from Africa. Well, not all of them. Their genetics come from, all over Africa, a bunch of Europe, maybe some Asian, East Asian, Middle Eastern, and they're unique to and created by, these warped slave owners, okay? And that's just one example, and then you've got examples of genocide, just entire subsections of people just being erased from the planet or attempted to be erased, okay? And unfortunately, when colonization happened, all the races around the world, the early white settlers were very prone to killing the best and the brightest of those societies, right? I.e. the people with the best genetics of the societies had just been. Now those genetics still are someplace. We need to find them. There's good genetics in every race. There's bad genetics in every race, okay? So the first generation is just educating Okay? The second generation is pulling out the real important, the sociopathic people. Okay, definitely can't have y'all breeding. People with inbred genetics, okay? Though, and, like people with actual, like, the typical retardations that we see, these types of things, right? Another story, right? This couple in Jordan couldn't have a baby. I guess they had like 3 dead babies. And it's like at some point, here comes, medicine to just waste resources on an epic scale on this couple because they have money for some reason. And they get to just have just insane attention and medical attention just so they can have children. Like, that's insanity, okay? Mother Nature is telling you you shouldn't breed by giving you dead babies. There shouldn't be 1 ounce of resources to try to counter Mother Nature's obvious decisions, okay? The people that have these muddled bloodlines that can't even have children anymore, and it's like we're forcing that, it just needs to stop, okay? And a lot of the driving force behind this is religion, okay? And to stand in the face of religion is to stand in the face of the majority of the planet, okay? But religion's time has come and gone. Let's take the information. We know there was no scientific basis for what they were doing. We know that the basic overall premise of the religion is, trying to convince people they need to just behave themselves, because why else do people need to behave themselves if they don't have some fiery grave waiting for them? Or if you're a good person, then you get the pillowy grave. That's what it boils down to, trying to make people behave themselves. Like, why? Why would, I'm 6'4", a couple 100 pounds, super quick, I can deal with shit. Why? What's stopping me from just going and doing this and not giving a shit, and that's what we need to breed out. That mindset, breed that mindset out. I'm an empathic person, right? Why would I want to hurt anybody? That is going to come back on me, 50-fold, okay? So I prefer to just have a nice, peaceful world, okay? Now, there's just a whole subsection of people that don't want a peaceful world. And a lot of those people are tied to religion. And a lot of those people have been listening to the religion to breed out of control for millennia, okay? 70% of Pakistan is inbred. That's not sustainable or realistic. Like, why? We don't need inbred people, okay? Now, I am 100% not suggesting of any sort of genocide or any sort of this, right? Generation 1 education, Generation 2, the really crazy diseases and the sociopaths and the bad genetics, right? Generation 3, we start to get trying to cure disease, right? By breeding practices. Like, I don't have any problems. I don't go to the doctor. I eat well, exercise, take care of myself, and I don't have any health problems, right? Meanwhile, I know people breeding out of control that spend half their damn time in the doctor, all right? That doesn't make any sense, okay? So that's Generation 3. Cleaning up the Generation 4, now we're talking about dialing in humans. We're talking about literally people like myself that have empathic traits, trying to breed for empathic traits. Like, you can see in the one Star Trek, the lady, she was right there on that all the time. And hey, what's the empathic story of this? There is a place in the world, right? Because they've already done the math. And if the whole planet was sociopaths, everybody would be dead, okay? So obviously sociopaths aren't the future. What's the opposite of a sociopath? An empath, okay? So in generation 4, we start breeding for the quality traits, okay? So we start to actually superhumans, high intellect, extremely healthy, extremely physically fit, just from their genetics, okay? I'm not talking about gene splicing. I'm not talking about all that. I'm just talking about breeding practices, okay? So that's what the 4-generation licensing childbirth would look like, okay? So the people in the 1st generation, they're getting educated. The people in the 2nd generation, they're just losing sociopaths and inbreds and, Down syndrome and these types of things, right? The 3rd generation, we're going after the diseases. We're trying to cure all diseases because a resource-based economy, number 1 tenet is human health, not profit, okay? Generation 4, we're going for superhuman status, okay? Because we want to be a star traveling species, right? And having people that need to be tinkered with by other people all the time because their bodies don't work right, their minds don't work right, is just not how we go forward, okay? We're not going to kill off all these people by no means, right? Because if that's the way you go, then all those people that killed all those people, or the people that designed the robots that killed all the people, or whatever, those are all seriously messed up people. And we don't want that anymore. We're tired of the messed up people. We're sick of the sociopaths. We're sick of the freaking people that just think murdering, lying, cheating, stealing is okay. Okay? Now, you can want to build prisons until you're blue in the face, but that doesn't solve any problems. That creates more problems because now you have these places where all these bad genetics are. And then you've got people with bad genetics that are sitting there watching these other people with bad genetics, and then it's just not sustainable. Like, none of those people need to exist. Now, erasing them from the planet is not the option because who's going to do that is going to be a messed up person. So we tell these people, have a nice life, just don't breed, okay? That's it. Because we have the ability just to pile up food, just to pile up anything, every single thing humans need to live wonderful lives. We have the capability. It's called abundance. Right? Because when your metric is human health and not profit, then everything's abundant. Okay? Right now, they rototill under food because the restaurant can't buy it anymore while people are starving at the same time. All right? That's how broken this system is. Okay? It's called a resource-based economy. That's it. Now, we should just start a political party and say we're open to the world. We have one law, do no harm. We have one rule, don't breed without a license. Okay? Show up to your phone, right? For the tiny little bit of work that you gotta actually do to make everybody have everything in this world is such a tiny bit of work when everybody's just doing real work. And we don't have 90% of the human species doing fake, worthless work right now. That's where we're at. People are just doing BS on levels that is just ridiculous, trashing the planet. Okay, let's just pull back for a second and just not destroy the planet doing a bunch of wasted, stupid things that we don't need, okay? RBE for a sane future. Peace.